Alright guys, welcome back to the Frugal Homestead, and it's another chilly, cold day. I want to do a quick midweek video to give you guys an update on what's going on with the hickory and oak mix that we were kiln drying here in the wood burner building. Now, it is freaking cold. The wind chills have been terrible. This building is not that insulated, so I'm having a hard time keeping it even up to 100 degrees on a normal day in order for the kiln effect to take hold. So, I've got some pieces we pulled out to acclimate. One's a huge piece of oak. And then we have some hickory, as in shagbark, and one piece of pig nut, and a piece of maple. Now, maple was at 60% when we put it in there. It was over level, so it was more than 60%. So I'm interested to see what that did in about 10 days. But I'll take you inside, show you what we got going on, then we'll crack some pieces open and check the moisture content. Okay, before we go inside, of course, you're going to have to deal with the sound of my wood burning furnace blowing. For those of you that are new, we have an outdoor wood burning furnace that we pipe hot air into the house with. It is not efficient running it like this, but we live in a mobile home, so we cannot have one inside. Now, as you can see, we are at 16% in here, moisture, and 91 degrees up here. Now, since there's a concrete floor, and because of everything, pretty much the heat level up to here stays hot. Down here, not so much. But as you can see, we already are starting to get some pretty serious checks in our bundle wood. The walnut especially is starting to check pretty hard. Now, what I found out is, I got a piece of poplar. I don't have much of that in here. There's a few pieces of red maple, but the maple doesn't crack as much as you can see on the ends. It just dries. But we're getting some nice cracking effects on these. Now, these are halfway through, but as I said, because the temperature is so cold, I may have to run these a little longer than our standard 10-day setup. We'll have to keep testing and find out. But what we're talking about is right here, and that is the oak and hickory mix, mostly hickory. Now, I have been getting some locusts lately, which I'm going to mix into these in the coming year to make just a hardwood blend of those three woods. But I mean, look at that. There's plenty of cracking going on, and there is some very big pieces. That's why we took that giant piece of oak. So very worst case scenario, this stuff is coming out today, done or not. If the giant pieces aren't good, I'll pull them out and set them aside separately. But I will be mixing these into our bundles as we go now, because we are selling bundles very fast. Now up here I've got some small wood, and I like to add these into the bundles just to help people get fires started. But I'll be doing testing to see how this small wood tests out after about 5 to 6 days. But it's going, even though it's only 9 degrees outside with a wind chill below 0, we're still holding at 90 degrees right now, which is decent, but we really need to be at 100 to 120 degrees to really get them to open up and start cracking. And I'm going to give you a quick spoiler, there's something new coming, so be on the lookout for that. But it's time to go outside, crack some open, and see what we got. You can see the giant hole where I pulled that giant piece of oak out. Alright guys, so here's what we got. Clean up mess here. I'm gonna set them right here. We got a piece of maple, got a piece of pig nut, we got a piece of shaggy bark, and we got a big old piece of oak. So what I want to say is 15 days, that's kind of a long time. When I can get cherry and like maple and other stuff done in 10, it kind of makes more sense not to do the hickory right yet. Wait till this summer, we build solar kilns and a wood-fired kiln. But let's take a look at what's up with this extremely wet maple here that we put in there. All right. 20 in the middle. So that piece is ready to go. So we're talking probably, I mean, that's a decent sized piece of maple. Here's my hand, here's the piece. So that was a decent sized piece of maple going from fully green to burnable. Now if you go to the outside, it's 0. You go to the ends, it's 0. Inside you're getting 20 to 21. This side is getting 21. But as this acclimates more, it'll end up being more like 17 throughout. You just got to give it time to acclimate more. But that's ready to burn, honestly. Now, this is young shagbark, but when they're green, these branches have so much water in them, it's crazy. So let's go ahead, knock this apart. Come on, gotta love hickory. It's got that spring to it. All right, guess we're turning it over and cracking it the other way. That just does not want to come apart. There. All right. Let's see what we end up with here. All right, so inside of that, we're getting 21. Now, as I said, once it acclimates, it's already starting. It's got 9 on the outside. Now let's do the end. 0 on the end. Now my big thing that I want to show you is it's consistent. 21. So as it breaks down and sends the moisture throughout to equalize, you will get, all right, we're getting 9 on the outside of that one, but you will get a product that is somewhere around 17, 16, but it's consistent everywhere I put the pins in. 21 on the inside. So that is ready to burn. You give it a day or two to sit more and it'll balance right out, but it'll burn perfect in the stove right now. All right, so we've done the shaggy bark. Let's do some pig nut. Hopefully this one's not as hard to split. That went better than anticipated. Luckily we got a straight grain one. All right. Inside's 18. Outside 0. It won't read. Too low. So I got snow on this end. That's gonna mess up the reading, but it's still 0. So with that done, I'd say that's a success, but we don't want to speak too fast because, as I said, these big pieces may need separated. And I kind of am hoping that I can even split this on this. So this is a big old piece of oak. And look, that's how dry it is. This was wet, guys. This is fresh cut. Bark just falls off. That's a good sign. Holy cow. Putting the kindling cracker through its paces today. Well, maybe we won't be splitting it this way. Let's try it this way then. Got it. Holy cow. All right. It stinks. All right, so we are getting, yeah, it's consistent all the way through. 29, that's what I was afraid of. Little bit too big to penetrate now. Ugh. Anywhere else on it's dead zero. Get it in there. Zero. So I'll be honest, guys, if I take these pieces out, then after about a week of sitting out here in the cold and equalizing, they'd probably be good. But yeah, I'm getting a consistent reading, guys. But what I think I'm gonna do, because I don't sell it until the numbers are, 20, 21 lower, is I'm gonna split all these big pieces in half and let them kind of live in there in the kiln for another 5 or so days. What that'll do is guarantee this wood is good. Now the other option is I could use this for our burner fuel because this stuff is amazing. But I kind of hate to do that when I've still got cookies to burn. I can tell you that this cooking down some completely fresh cut oak in 15 days to even the point it's at now is pretty impressive with the size it is. Had I split this piece in half, as you saw with the other ones, it would have been done. But I mean, look at the size of it. It's bigger than my hand. You know what I mean? It's pretty much the size of my hand. My fingertips fully stretched is the size of this piece of wood. So that's a huge chunk. And to get the inside down from completely soaking wet to 29, 30%, 31, that's pretty good in 15 days, I think, especially because the kiln couldn't get up to temperature a lot of those days. I don't think that it's feasible to keep doing this because of time frame. I need wood faster than this. So throwing in cherry, throwing in red maple, throwing in other kinds of wood other than our heavy hardcore mix of hardwood is probably a better idea. So after reviewing everything, I think that there's definitely promise for building a new kiln and a solar kiln, because to move volume of this kind of wood, you would have to probably let it season for at least a full year here in Ohio, and that's time that just is spent sitting. If I can get a kiln going running off a combination of solar and of wood burner scraps like slash and stuff from the splitter, I think that it's going to be extremely profitable. Obviously you have the cost to build it, but in my numbers you're looking at very little, because I'm not going the whole container route. I'm going just build everything by hand. I know the places to buy the materials cheap, and I know how I can build it in a small enough fashion that I'm not trying to do 10 cords at a time, guys. If I can do 2/3 of a cord at a time, I'd be happy, to be honest. Because if you're flipping it out every 7 days, you're gonna have product that you're gonna be building up all summer long. But with that said, we may end up selling faster than that, I don't know. I don't think this is profitable in this setup when I have all this cherry here and I have all these mixed hardwoods. I do have some locusts we could try down there. It might go a little faster, but at minimum, I need to make sure that if I do another run like this, it needs to be all small pieces. But with that said, if you haven't already, go down, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next one.